Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. In this video, I am going to discuss how we can use the summarize column function in Power BI. So to group the data, we have three different functions in Power BI. First function is group by function. So it can be used to group the data and then perform the aggregations on the group the data. Similarly, we can have one more function that is called summarize function. So summarize can be used again for the same purpose. Then we have another function that is called summarize column, right? So all the three functions returns the summary table over the set of groups, but still they have different use cases. So we will discuss that. So if you use the summarize column function, so you will be able to group the data. Okay, so here what I did is I used product name, country, and sales amount, these three columns. So I used aggregated aggregation here, or we can say the calculator column here. So all the three functions allows you to perform the calculations inside this to add new columns. This is fine. So here product name is coming from the product table, territory is coming from the territory table, meaning the territory country is coming from the territory table. Then sales, the value of sales is coming from the sales table. But I have not specified anything here as a table name. So you do not need to specify that as a base, what table has the base values for the calculation purpose and all. So you do not need to specify anything for the summarize column function. But if you compare this function with the summarize, so in summarize and in group by, you should specify first argument as a base table from which you are going to summarize the data. So obviously other columns may come from the related tables in both the functions, but you should specify the base table from which the aggregation is going to happen, right? So same is applicable to the group by also. Now, what is the difference between group by and summarize? So in summarize function, you can directly use the implicit measures, sum, min, max, count, this average, this kind of direct functions you will be able to use to group the data. But while in group by, you will not be able to use implicit aggregation. How you can do that? Then again, you need to use the iterator function that is called sum x, and here you need to use the current group. So this current group is going to refer the combination of product name and territory country. It will filter and it will take the sum of the specified expression, right? So this is how the three functions can be used. What will happen if I don't keep the relationship? Okay, so I will go and I will make one of the relationship inactive. Okay, the moment I make the relationship inactive, you will be able to see that this group by and summarize not going to work. But summarize column function will not give you error. Okay, here you will be able to see the result is remain same. Why? Because the calculation is not happened again. So let me fails. Let me make some changes and do the recalculation. So I'll show you something that is pretty much tricky. So now you can see here, okay, if I sort in descending, so for each country, it is showing the same amount. Why? See, the moment I make the relationship inactive, summarize column will not throw error for the column that is not exist and kind of things. But yes, it will not consider that column in the calculation purpose, right? So this calculation, obviously you need to refresh once again when we make the relationship active, because tables are not going to calculate it automatically until and unless we perform the refresh. Right. So I'll come back here. Then again, I will simply say sales amounts. Okay, just changing to make the refresh of the table. Right. So here, now you will be able to see that all the three functions are showing the same result. This is how it's sorted, this is how it's sorted, and if I sort this also in descending order, you will be able to see the same values. Even number of rows are same. So 777, here also you will be able to see. Then when to use which function, right? So when you need a simple group by summary with the calculated columns, simple group by summary with the calculated columns, you can use summarize function. You can use summarize function. Okay, this will give you a simple result, and this is even more optimized than group by. Okay, but the drawback of this summarize and group by function is that they do not react to the filter context. They do not react to the filter context. Okay, meaning the filters which are coming from the filter pane, the filters which are coming from the slicers, these functions are not summarize, and group by function is not going to react, meaning it will not work. Okay, to overcome this issue, what Power BI team has done, like they have added the summarize column functions in the Power BI. Summarize columns. This function is added to make that happen. So when you need a performance, you should use the summarize column function. So if you create the visual at the backend, by default, this summarize column function is used. I will show you how this works. Right. And we can say this function is context aware table function in Power BI. So because this function, you don't need to do any kind of modification for the summarize column function to apply the slicers and all. But for group by and summarize, yes. So you will not be able to apply the slicers directly. Indirectly, there is a way. Okay, it is fine. Then when you need complex and custom aggregations using a row context, using a row context, then group by function is here. Why row context? Because we are using the current group, right? So this function will be helpful when you have to do some more complex, but the performance of group by is slow as compared to summarize, and summarize is again slow as compared to summarize column. So most optimized function to group the data is summarize column, but there is a problem. So you can use summarize function in nesting. In nesting, meaning in add column functions, you can use summarize. In you can use group by, but you cannot use summarized column function. So this function do not support nesting. Okay. Otherwise, summarize column function is best for the performance. So now let's see. Okay, so here what I did is I simply created one visual. If you want to see the how the DAX is used, just go to the performance analyzer and start the recording and then refresh the visual. Now click on this and let's run the query in this query editor, not a query editor, DAX query view. Okay. So here you can see that what it does, it has defined one variable. Inside that variable, it summarized the data using the summarize column function. Why? See, we are using this for the visual purpose. Visual should react to the slicers and filter context, right? So this is how it worked. Then uh, it, by default it used 1001, but it is fine. This is more than sufficient number. So this will be evaluated to return top n number of categories. Then this is evaluated here. So this function, meaning this variable, is evaluated here, and then it is sorted based on this. First of all, it is sorted based on the amount and then product category, right? So this is how the summarize column function is used. Summarize column you can write your own function. So if you go here, okay, and if you ask me, let's do some kind of evaluation here. So let me say summarize columns. Okay, then here uh, we don't need to specify the base table, so I will use territory country. Then I will use product category. Then I will use okay. So let me evaluate this before modification, and here here okay. So even I can pass the filter function or calculate table function here. So let me say filter. I want to filter the data for the category. Okay, so here I should say product table, and then filter is like category is equals to bikes. Okay, and after this, meaning in between, you will be able to add a filter. So once you start adding the filter tables, so it's not like that you can specify the one, you can specify the more than one filter tables. You can use the calculate table also to I use the filter filter manipulation or filter return table, meaning the tables which are returned after applying the filters. Okay, then you can use the aggregation. I will say sales, and then I will say sum of sales amount, right? So this is how I can use. So you will be able to see that you will be able to see you can add the filter directly here in the summarize column function. This is not possible in summarize and group by. You cannot pass. So these functions can be used inside the other nesting, but here you cannot use summarize columns inside the other functions. Instead of that, you can use other functions inside this to filter the data, to return the table. So this is what we can say the table express. There are three types of filters. Filter modification functions are there. Then Boolean filter is there, and table filter expressions are there. This is a part of table filter expression, right? So this is how summarize column work. And you can use to perform the aggregations in Power BI. So I hope you like the content of this video. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day.